Welcome to the Rollercoaster Ride of Business with Hannah Edwards on Global Voice Radio. Hannah and her guests share the real deal, the ups and downs, the highs and lows of building a business. Here is your host, Hannah Edwards.
Hey guys, and welcome to the Rollercoaster Ride of Business. I'm your host, Hannah Edwards, and today I'm joined by the Global Voice Radio founder, Denise Joy Thompson. I'm really excited to have her here today. Hi, Denise.
Thank you for inviting me, and I'm so glad to be talking with you today and sharing anything that I can do to help other women and men to build their businesses to the best that they can be.
Well, I'm really excited because obviously today we're talking about goal setting and for me what happens when you don't hit those goals, because I'm not going to lie, we're in April and my goals I am nowhere near where I was hoping to be at the moment. So, but then we're only in April. I've still got the rest of the year.
Well, you know what, Hannah, and that's a great attitude to have, because every day is a new day.
Exactly.
And we can look at what do we want to accomplish, and we can make our plan so that we can achieve those goals.
Definitely. I think one of the things about when you're working a job and having a business is to make sure that you've got your goals always there in your mind. Like obviously mine is, I'm hoping to be working from home by Christmas. That is my main overall goal for this year. So I think having your goals forefront every day when you wake up thinking, yeah, I know I've got to go to work, but this is going to be the end result is probably the best thing that I can do, that I can think of. I don't know how other people feel about it, but that's the only way that I managed to get through, knowing that soon it's not going to be like that. I'm going to wake up and be like, yes, it's business day. Like,
well, you know, Hannah, I think having that positive attitude, looking at what are you doing today and how hard are you working now, working at your full-time job and working at your business every other hour that you have available.
Exactly.
End result is, like you said, you only then will have to work on your business by the end of 2018.
Yeah.
And a lot of people need to think like that, right? Yes, it might be hard and it's time consuming, but what are you building and creating for the rest of the time?
I mean, it's definitely, like you said, spending those hours where you're not at the day job. Obviously, there is an element of self-care. You can't spend every hour working on your business. I mean, I've learned that. I've been ill over the weekend because I've spent as much time as I could working on my business and I've burnt myself out. So I took the weekend off. I did a little bit. I made sure the magazine was out and ready for people to download. And then I thought, you know what, I'm going to take a break. But it's not a case of, well, I've only got like an hour because I've got all of this other stuff that I want to do. What shall I do? It's, I've got an hour, let's get that business done. My phone comes to the bathroom with me so I can answer emails. Like, it's every minute for me at the moment is spent on business.
Yes. Well, and I think when we schedule self-care, we are more productive in working at our full-time job or building our business.
Absolutely.
So having that schedule, making sure there's self-care in there and other daily living tasks that we need to do.
Absolutely. I mean, you find a lot of businesses that are starting up are, I think, are failing because A, the owners are burning themselves out. They're so determined to be a business owner that they're not thinking about everything else that they're letting fall by the wayside. So it's business from the moment they wake up to the moment they go to bed. Especially if they're working a job at the same time, like, and they're burning themselves out, so they're not actually being the most productive that they could be. I find once I've taken a day off, granted I say I take the weekend off, I still answer emails, I send messages, I was messaging you all week while I had no voice, like but I was still talking business stuff. Like, it doesn't end because I wasn't feeling very well. It was a case of, well, I know my limits at the moment and I've got to stick to what those are and not burn myself out so that my businesses fall apart completely. That's not how business should be done. And I think people forget that. They all sit there and think, okay, well, let's work and work and work and work. They're going to get to the point where they're not enjoying that business.
Right. And I think even as you described it, you took time for you this past weekend, but you still did some work. So
Yeah.
sometimes we might say, well, I took the whole weekend off, or I took the week off. And sometimes as business owners, what that means is we took more time for ourselves, but we didn't totally ignore our business.
No.
And we still are working it. Where sometimes I think people who work the 9 to 5, they may see, oh, but you take all of this time off. And it's like, well, no, I just took a few more hours than normal. And because with technology, we can work our business no matter where we're at or what time of day, or even if we are in our pajamas.
Which is how I've spent the week. Not gonna lie. Today is the first time I've properly been dressed because whilst I took the time to rest, I still did my business on my phone. I still had my laptop on. Like, I just didn't bother getting dressed. I say I didn't get dressed. I got dressed to go for a walk so that I could get the fresh air to help me feel better and to clear my mind to come back to the business. But then I got straight back in my pajamas when I got home.
Right. Well, and you mentioned something, going for a walk. You know, when we talk about scheduling in self-care, going for a walk, getting some exercise, eating healthy, are we scheduling our meals, right? When we look at our day and we have the 18 hours of being awake, what are we doing in those 18 hours that move us forward towards our goals? And
exactly.
Self-care, meals, family time need to be scheduled during those 18 hours.
Definitely. I mean, scheduling is a big part with the hours that I work. I have to make a list of what I want done every single day so that then I can go through. And I'm not going to lie, I get a bit disappointed if not everything on that list is crossed off. But I've got to the point now where I'm like, I've been in business a year now, so I'm disappointed, but I'm not going to beat myself up about it because I know there's still plenty more days. The problem is when I'm at work on my 15-hour shifts, then I get home and I want to work. I'm like, I've got to be back in the day job in 9 hours. Like, I either do some business or I sleep.
Right. Well, you know, and I think for individuals who are working a full-time job and building their business, it's important for them to prioritize the goals that they are going to work on. Because when we create a task list, I'm sure we can think of 30 things a day that we could do. Yeah. But what are the most important ones that will generate income? What are the most important ones, if we don't do, it will take us a step back in our business?
And this is it. I mean, a colleague of mine, we were having a conversation the other day because he's setting up his own business as well. So there's the two of us that are working between 50 and 60 hours in a care job a week. I mean, I live with my partner and I'm even sat talking like to people on my laptop and doing business whilst I'm watching a movie with him. And I find that I've actually sat and missed half of this movie that we've paid to watch because I'm so busy doing like bits for the business. But even like in conversation with him the other day, we both sat there and were like, if we don't schedule or take time out for ourselves, we'll get to that point where none of our list is getting done because we've not prioritized what the bits are that will make us an income. And I think that's where a lot of people are they're starting to realize it now. When I talk to some people that are starting businesses, they're like, well, there was a task right at the bottom of my list that I should have done first. Well, why didn't you put it first? If it was one that should have been done first, it should have been on the top of the list if that's the order you work in. my first 5 tasks on my list are the 5 that have to be done that day, because if I don't get them done that day, I lose money. So
right, and that's a very important point that you're making, is as we're making our list, what are the non-negotiables?
Exactly.
What goes first? And one of the things that, in another group that I'm in, one of the suggestions was, what is the time frame to get those done?
Yeah.
If you're having problem focusing, or you really don't want to do one of those non-negotiables, set a timer so that you are focused on that task for 15, 20 minutes. And then that's it. You can shut off your phone, you shut off Facebook, you shut off your email, and that is all you do. Because when we focus that intently for a short amount of time, we probably can get that task done or almost done.
Yeah. I mean, I find that I've had to start rewarding myself. It's like being a kid again, like when it's a case of, well, there's something I really don't want to do, so I'll reward myself doing it. Mine is actually like game time on The Sims 4. I don't know what it is about that game, but I will sit there and I'll be like, okay, well, I will like write this blog post for my virtual assistant business, or I will send off emails regarding like magazine or anything like that, and then I'll go, and then I get 10 minutes of sim play. But I won't do that whole 10 minutes straight away. I like to build it up. So I will do all my tasks. So I've had 10 minutes for each task. So like 5 tasks at 10 minutes each reward time. I'm well away. I've got an hour on my game then.
Well, and that is a good incentive. And then that also allows you to relax.
Absolutely.
Sort of regroup, and then
battle the next 5.
And what else needs to be done?
Yeah.
So everyone can use the time blocking on their schedule, right? When is work time? When is social media time? When do you email? When are you exercising? When are you eating lunch? I use both Google and my paper calendar. I have not let go of my paper calendar.
I love mine.
Google calendar, things go to there automatically, right? So that's good to have. But I look at it and then I can determine, okay, where is my self-care for this week? My self-care, my exercise time is already on there. When are my Zoom meetings? When are my webinars? Those go on my calendar. And then I can figure out, when am I seeing clients? So it really helps to be focused. And then where is my admin or my task time?
Absolutely. And I think people go into business with this whole idea of, okay, well, in about 3 months' time, I'll be this multimillionaire business owner. Some people, I think, don't have a proper concept on what it takes to be a business owner, like everything that goes into it. I mean, I've got friends that I will talk to them on the phone almost every day, like even if it's just over text message or Facebook Messenger. But as for seeing them, that's gone from every couple of days to once a fortnight at the moment, because everything else is just in between it. Like, it's just so difficult to fit in everything that you want to do. And for me, that's where the scheduling has come. I mean, in the Success Engineers group, I know that Sarah Cruz posted saying about making a list of everything you do in a day and how much time you spend doing it, because then you find exactly where you've wasted all this time. And a lot of mine is I'll respond to emails and then I'll have someone message me asking for advice on something. At the moment, it's a case of I have so much stuff going on. I send a lot of people to Google because I haven't got the time to search for it for them. So when I've got my businesses to do, so I'm just like, Google will have it. Google has become my best friend when it's come to my businesses. So.
Well, and one of the things that can be difficult for other people in our life when we are building our business is we are changing what we focus on and what we spend time on, and they are not.
Yeah.
And so they don't realize the time that you spent with them before, that was your free time. An hour to you now, you could be creating a program, you could be creating products, you could be generating income. And an hour to our friends, they have that hour available. To me, an hour, that could be quite a bit of money. Time I'm with a client, time that I'm getting ready to promote and launch a product. So I don't have as much free time as I used to. And so now I want quality time and not necessarily the quantity that you just spend talking or helping somebody.
Exactly. I mean, I will sit there and I'll say to my friend, right, I will be over at this time, but I need to be gone by this time. And a couple of my friends, they get it, because my point of view is, hey, by next year, I'll be working from home. If I decide I'm going to come and spend a couple of hours at your house, that's fine, because I haven't got to worry about getting to work on time, because I'll be owning my own business. As long as I've got no major tasks that have to be done in those couple of hours, I can take that break then. But right now, to get to that point where I can take that break, I need to make these sacrifices. I need to set my goals and I need to work towards them while scheduling my time to be able to do that.
Right. So one of the things that we were talking about before your show was we were going to talk about goals.
Absolutely.
And so I had shared with you one of the things that I was taught when I went through my coaching program, specifically about goals. And it used the acronym AIM, so AIM, SMART. And what this process does, and most people know SMART goals, and we'll go over that, but when we talk about AIM, and you can think about when you aim at something, you want to hit it, right? You want to attain it. So the A is for acceptable. What is the minimum that you want to achieve? The I is for ideal. What is the maximum that you can do or achieve? And then M is in the middle. So when we're looking at goals, and we might think about the number of clients or our income, what is acceptable? So what is that minimum? So for you and your business, you have determined there's a certain amount of income that you need to grow each month to be able to leave your full-time job. So that's an acceptable, right? That's what you want to hit. And then you might add another $20, $30, $50,000 or pounds, you're in England, to it. And that would be your ideal. And then what is, if you were able to get more than your acceptable, right, the minimum, what could you do to stretch and reach an amount between acceptable and your ideal? Because then you work just a little bit harder, right? As you're getting closer to that goal, you're like, wait a minute, I am so close to my minimum. If I work a little bit harder, I can make a few more, a little bit more money. Maybe I'm not going to reach my maximum, but it can give us that incentive. But if we just look at a minimum, then we might not see where with a few more hours, a few more clients, a few more products, that we can move beyond that.
So I need to remember that, because I sit there and, like I said at the beginning, I haven't hit my goals yet for the year. We are only in April, but that's the first quarter almost gone. We're entering that next zone now, and it's just like, okay, well, I need to rethink that. So I need to remember what these acronyms are.
Right. And I will, write them down for you, and we can include them somehow when we share our show. But the thing is, even every month, we can think about what is the minimum per month to help us to reach our end goal.
Absolutely.
And sometimes you can even break it down per week and per day. Who owes us money that we're like, oh, I can send them a reminder invoice, and then today I made my minimum goal. in a week, I made the minimum goal to reach my monthly goal. And it can be sort of fun. It's like if you're saving for vacation, we seem to pay a lot of attention to that money and how much can we save.
Yeah.
And then sometimes in businesses, we're not paying as much attention on how do I create income? How do I make sure I get paid? And then, of course, how do I save some of it? So not only do we want to think about the aim, right, the acceptable, ideal, and middle, but then we want to think about SMART, the SMART process, another acronym. But when we're thinking about a goal, we want the goal to be specific. If we don't know for sure what that goal is, so, Hannah, for you, you have a specific goal for you to have a certain level of income.
Yeah.
But if you weren't sure and you're like, well, I want to leave my job and I hope to make enough money. Well, how do you work towards that goal when it's not specific and you don't know?
Exactly. It makes no sense. Like, there's no target there to aim for.
Right. It's just like losing weight. Oh, I want to lose a few pounds. Well, how do you know when you've lost it? And could you do more? Could you exercise more, eat healthier? If we're not specific, we're not focused, and we can't take action steps to get us towards that goal. So then is it measurable, right? So we have a specific goal, and then how do we measure not only when we've met that goal, but also measure it along the way? Are we making progress? And achievable. All of us could say, we would like to make $1 million.
God, if only.
I would like to do that. Now, with the plan that I have and what I know I can do and how many hours spending on my business this year in 2018, if I look at $500,000, that's probably an ideal, but it could be done. The $1 million, probably not as achievable. Now, I don't want to talk myself out of trying per se, but I also don't want to set myself up to fail.
Exactly.
So when you think about the aim, we're creating an ideal that is achievable if we do the other action steps along the way. And still on the SMART process, when we get to the R is reasonable. So if I say I'm going to do this SMART process and I'm creating this goal, can I do it at this time? Is it reasonable in regards to what I'm doing? And that sort of also plays into, is it achievable, right?
Yeah.
If I choose something not achievable, well, then it's not reasonable either. And then time-oriented. Our goals should always be connected to a time frame. And so we might have, a 3-month goal, a year goal, a 3-year, and a 5-year. But they're all tied into one another. But if we only look at, 5 years from now, how do you know what your action steps are today?
Yeah. It's like, I like to think, I have planned in 5 years. In 5 years' time, I'm planning on having this massive empire. Like, I'm taking over the world. But I do sit there, I sit there and I'll have a conversation with someone. They're like, but that's 5 years. I'm like, yes, but I also know my goals that I'm doing every week to get to that 5 years, because I'm the type of person that I've planned everything right down to the finer details. So I know in 5 years where I want my virtual assistant business, where I want my magazine, other businesses that I'm hoping to have as well in 5 years, because if I'm going to be working from home, I may as well make it from multiple income streams. To be, not just to be on that safe side, just because there are so many different things out there that are ideal to do, that all tie in with all of my businesses. But I know that I need to create the steps to actually make it so that I can get to that point in 5 years. Dreaming about doing it now would be very unreasonable for me. Sitting there and saying, well, I'm quitting work tomorrow, I've got no income to pay all my bills and everything, is a very unreasonable, unachievable goal for me.
Right. But as you have already looked at building your own business, you've looked at what do you need to do weekly? What do you need to do monthly? You create a task list of what are your priorities. And that is a good example for others to follow. Now, it doesn't mean that we don't get sick or something happens in our family or, we have to take a detour. We know that life is going to happen. But if we don't have a plan from the very beginning, it's pretty difficult to reach any type of goal.
Absolutely. And I find, because I get really frustrated with people that they want their business, it's like their ultimate be all and end all. Like, well, it's not be all and end all for me, but it is my ultimate goal. But they don't plan on it. And I'm like, well, how can you not plan for something that you're so desperate to have? You're that desperate to have your own businesses that you're taking on like 4 or 5 things at the exact same time. That's not a good, to me, that's not a good business owner, because you need to focus on the one. I mean, as I said to you in our very first conversation, I started my magazine ages ago, but because I was starting my virtual assistant business at the same time, the magazine didn't work as well because I was too stretched. Now I've brought it back in where I'm at a point in my life where I could bring something else into it. It's doing really well. Like, I don't understand why people think, okay, well, I want to be a business owner tomorrow, so I'm going to take on 5 businesses in one go and not plan for any of them, not set any goals and go an hour here or there to build them up will be fine. I don't understand people like that.
Well, and I think in some ways, individuals don't know what it takes to build a business.
Absolutely.
And, there are business coaches out there. I myself work with small business owners in regards to setting up the foundation, figuring out what are they going to do. And it does take time and attention. It takes focus. It takes changing your lifestyle. If you're used to working a 9 to 5 and getting a paycheck, building a business is not the same at all.
It's not 9 to 5 whatsoever. It's hard. Hence the title of this show. Like, it is a roller coaster. It is hard. It's taking your phone to the bathroom with you so that while you're cleaning your teeth, you're answering an email. It's having a conversation with a friend in one room, but responding to a message from a client on your phone at the same time, taking that phone call. Like, it interrupts every part of your life, but eventually it will be worth it as long as you spend that time planning, setting the goals, being reasonable about everything, making sure that you can achieve them and that they're realistic.
Right. And I think it's setting an expectation for ourselves, but it's also communicating with others in our life so that they have an expectation of our new lifestyle.
Yes. I mean, I've told friends and family that at the moment, whilst yes, I would love to constantly be spending each and every day with them, that's not an option for me right now, because my waking hours, whilst not at work, are working on my business to get to the point where I can turn around and say, okay, well, I'm a business owner, I'm going to take tomorrow off and go and spend it with this person. Like, I've not seen them for a while, so we'll go out for the day. And to know that I am in control. I like being in control of how I make my money, my income, where that money comes from. I mean, obviously, I have a job. I've had a job for years now. But for me, it's always been having the business. But there are people that wake up and go, I'm going to be a business owner today. And they've got no clue. So these goals and like the topic of today will actually hopefully help them realise that they do need to plan, they do need to schedule, and they do need to be a bit more realistic in how they set their goals out. Wanting to make £1 million by Thursday is an insane goal. It would be fantastic if it happened, but it's insane.
Now, at least in the United States, we have the lottery. So, but the chance to win this last one, and somebody won $500 million, but it was 1 in 302 million to be the winner. So yes, having that as your goal to be a lottery winner is probably not going to work for 99.9% of the people in the world. So Absolutely. It is deciding, what do you want out of life? And I for years, I had a 9-to-5, or when I was in the military, I had a 24/7, right? Because I was always on call. Yeah. So I understand that it is not a bad thing to have a job. If somebody wants to have a business, it's a different mindset and a different focus. It's a different lifestyle. And they can do it if they're willing to make those changes.
Absolutely. I mean, we're saying about the lottery, we have several different lotteries. We have the health lottery, we have the postcode lottery, we have the national lottery, and they do a Euro Millions as well. So there was a newspaper article that I read the other day in a group on like journaling and manifesting and stuff that I'm a member of. This person shared it. Now, there was this couple over here, I can't remember where in England they're from, but the husband fell sick, so the wife gave up her job, and they, every single time they played the lottery that it came up, and they were like focused, they were really determined, like, we're gonna win, and then they actually ended up winning. It was like they won well over £1 million. I'm like, I really need to start thinking about it like that. Like,
well, for me, I'd at least have to buy a ticket. That would be the first action step. And since I always forget, and then they have the drawing, it's like, okay, I missed that one. So
it's then when your numbers come up that you're like, oh, I should have played that.
Right. What are those numbers? And there have been people who have won multiple times. But so I've not put all my eggs in the basket of the lottery. Right. And for most people, that's probably not where you should put all your eggs or your extra money. And
think of all that money that you'd actually have, though. Like, I know people that they're so desperate to win the lottery, they'll spend like £10-20 a week just on the lottery. That's £80 to like £100 a month that people are spending, and it's just like, think of what you could be doing with that money.
Right. And sometimes, or often, when you are creating your own business, you realize the value of that 10 and 20 pounds.
Absolutely.
I think about the value of, I find some extra money or an invoice got paid, and it's like, oh, what can I buy for my business? What do I need for my business? And that's how you know that you are that business owner, that you're an entrepreneur, because that's how you're thinking. Is I get excited when I get a present that is for my business.
See, I got excited the other day because I bought myself a notebook for my business, and it was actually, I'm going to show you it now because we've started talking about it. I found it quite a pretty notebook. So I was like, oh, it's pretty, and it's for my business. And I got very excited that I bought this notebook, and people look at me like, it's a notebook.
I love business deduction. So, what do I need today that I can take off the mileage? And it's so, whenever I drive anywhere, it's like, oh, do I need paper? Do I need a marker? What do I need for my business that this trip is now business related?
Yeah. I love it. Like, everyone looks at me, they're like, you've just bought a notebook. I'm like, but think of the ideas that are now going to fill those pages. Like, it's not just a notebook anymore. It's for the business. It's to help expand. And I think that's where, again, a lot of people don't have the business owner mindset, because they, like, when they're there and they're going, well, it's just a notebook. For me, that's a notebook that my business is going to grow out of.
Right.
I'm going to have so many ideas filling those pages that's going to take me to that next step, that's going to help me with my goals, that's going to get me working from home by the end of 2018. And it shows a different in mindset when people are like, it's a notebook, it's paper, you write in it. And I'm just like, but it's so much more.
And it's that perspective and writing down your goals, writing down your ideas that help to make them a reality.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously we're talking about goals and everything today, and when we finish here, I'll be sat there thinking, okay, because I am taking part in the challenge in the Success Engineers group. So I'll be sat there for the goals that I want to do for the next week, working out my step by step for them, so that I know that this time next week I can reflect back on what I did or I didn't manage to do, and then they'll be the next ones that I progress on for the week after that. And it's going to keep going like that until I reach my end goal. And then when I reach that end goal, new goals will be set. It's not just a case of, well, what are you going to do once you've hit that main goal? What do you mean, what am I going to do? I'm going to set new ones.
Exactly.
That's what business is about. It's a roller coaster, but it's a roller coaster that's full of goals that you either hit them and you set more, or you don't and you keep trying.
That is exactly what business owners do every day.
Exactly. And I think now, with the way that business in the world is going, more and more people are switching on to the business owner mindset. And there are so many more. I mean, all of the network marketing companies that are popping up, subscription boxes are now becoming a big thing. There's one in every single industry that you could think of. Over here, they've just started a couple that are men can go online and get a box sent to them every month with their razors in it. Mm-hmm. So they haven't got to go and spend obscene amounts of money at the shop or remember to buy them. They can get them every month. Everyone is switching on, and there's so many new ideas that having a job is going to get to that point where there's going to be no one having them, because they all want businesses.
Well, the other thing, though, that with so many individuals wanting to have businesses, there's still those support services that need to be filled. So when we talk about individuals not being able to find a job, there will be more jobs because they still have to support everyone. So in some ways, it's sort of how the economy can continue to grow and develop by having more individuals going into business and other individuals stepping into those jobs.
Yeah. I mean, I like the fact that over here in the UK, more and more people are opening themselves up to having a business, because we've got so many people that are out of work because there's not enough jobs to go around for everyone. It's terrible that there's not enough jobs for everyone, but in a way, it's helping people go, okay, well, I'm going to have this mindset. The industry that I work in for my day job has one of the biggest turnover rates going. There are so many people it's either not what they expected or it's a stepping stone for them. But there are so many other industries that you've got people that have been there for 20, 30 odd years, and there's no new jobs being created for the children that are being born to have when they're older. For the people that move towns and stuff like that, there's towns up north that I wouldn't even dream about moving to because there's no work for me.
Right. Well, and one of the things about being a business owner, if we have to move somewhere because of the other people in our family, a lot of the businesses that we can create are global, and we don't have to do anything except an internet that works, right? We
Absolutely.
need Wi-Fi, we need internet. And we're so mobile now compared to what individuals were.
Absolutely. I mean, my businesses, one of the things I like about them is, should I decide to leave the town that I live in, they can still come with me. I haven't got to shut them down and go off elsewhere. Yes, it's businesses from home, but that home can be anywhere I want it. I could move to the States and still do it.
There you go.
It's not a plan at the moment, but several years' time, I could move to the States and run my businesses from there.
Yes.
And I think that is a lot of people's reasons for going into business are so that they know if they move, their business can go with them. A lot of businesses are more online now, and it's people's goals to have an online business, so they haven't got that worry. I would never even want to start up a business now that I couldn't take with me elsewhere. Like having a shop means that you are stuck in one town for as long as you want that shop open. And for me, it's just not an option. I like the fact that I can pack my businesses up, say, we're going to be offline for a week, but we'll be back. And I think it's one of those goal things for me, is to make sure that, I could go on holiday, and whilst I'll have already had the magazine set up and ready to go, my virtual assistant business can still come with me, because there'll still be some downtime there that I can sit in my hotel room and get a bit of work done. It's not one of those where I'm just like, well, I've got to take that time off work and not get paid for it, because I can take my businesses wherever I go.
Well, and sometimes that is the goal of individuals, that they're not tied to any one town or country. They're mobile, they have more freedom and a flexible schedule. And all of that can be achieved as long as we're clear on our goals and we're clear on the action steps that we're taking.
Absolutely. And it's only been recently, since I joined a journaling group, that I've actually thought about sitting down and clearly writing out my goals. I've always had like the end goal, and I've always known what I need to do to get there. But now for me, it's writing it down so that when I'm having a day that I'm like, I'm just going to give it all up, it's absolute rubbish, I'm never doing it anymore, like I can open that like notebook, or I can go into my office space and see on the wall exactly what the goals are, and then I'm like, okay, I'm going for a walk, and then I'll be back and I'm going to knock it out of the park.
Right. And that's a very good point that you just made, is when you're writing down our goals, right, myself included, where can you see them on a regular basis to remind you, to refocus, to keep you motivated in achieving them? Exactly.
With mobile phones the way they are now, people can have them written on a note on their phones, so that when they're out and about, if they're having a bad day, all they've got to do is look at their phones. Some people find that having a picture of their family, because their goal is to be at home with their family, it's that one little boost that they need to look at, like, stuck in that meeting that's running late, look at your phone, see your family, that's why you're doing it. And I think that's getting a lot more helpful for people.
Yes, exactly.
Think years ago when we didn't have phones or cameras, and we couldn't note down our goals, it makes me wonder how I would have coped back then, to not be able to see my goals or anything, like just a quick flick on of my phone.
Right. So in some ways, it is so much easier today than what people had to go through before. So we have technology to help us. We have masterminds. We have coaches. We have a lot of resources. And people just make sure that they're asking, use Google, right, to search on stuff. And the answers really are readily available.
They are. There is someone that's thought of your question before. So they've gone and they've done the research, and it's all on Google. It's years ago, I could understand people turn around and saying, well, I can't find the answer. But there's no way to not be able to find that answer now. Like, the internet is such a huge thing, or someone is always connected to someone that will know.
Right. Yes.
With the internet now, we're always connected. Like me and you, we're in two completely different countries, but we're connected, and you'll know someone that will have the answer to something that I need to know, or I'll know someone that will have the answer to something that you need to know, which before the 1990s, that wouldn't have even been possible.
No, we were...
Without a really big, expensive phone bill.
Right, yeah, I've had those before.
Oh, gosh. I'm lucky I've never had to worry about that. Right, so I'm going to wrap it up here, and I'm going to say thank you to Denise for joining us and for sharing her acronyms. I couldn't think of a word for a second then. For goal setting. Get in touch with us and let us know if you found the show helpful, what your tips for setting goals are. You can find Denise online on Global Voice Radio, and you can find me on Facebook at Empowered VA or Empowered Magazine. Thank you for joining me, Denise.
You're welcome. Thank you for listening. Join Hannah Edwards and the Rollercoaster Ride of Business every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern on Global Voice Radio, where your voice is heard.